Yeah, I'll react to that, sure. Hey. Hi, if you're new, my name's Connor. I need to be more friendly in my intros. How are you doing today? Good? Nobody cares. No, I do. I hope you're doing well. Sorry, rude. Preemptive like Philomena Cunk. That word "cunk" is hard for my brain. Moments of Wonder, episode 1 time. It says episode 1, but it's only 420. 420 minutes long. 4 minutes, 20 seconds. Anyways, let's go. She's been hilarious. They're short videos. There are a few of them, so we're watching.
Time is precious, but it's not like other precious things. You can't hold it like a necklace or taste it like money. Time has existed since before time began, and today it's all around us, on our phones, in the corner of the news. But once upon a time, if you wanted the time, then you had to come here, to the headquarters of time, Greenwich Clock Museum. All the clocks in the world are set from here.
Wait. So, there's Greenwich Mean Time. There's the Greenwich, the line. But then isn't there, Little Diomede and Big Diomede, like, between Alaska and Russia? That I thought that is the line in which, like, it's tomorrow or yesterday on different sides of the line. Does anyone know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, which must take ages. So, what is clocks? Clocks was invented by the ancient Mesopotamians in ancient Mesopotamian times, but they didn't know it were ancient Mesopotamian times because there were no clocks to see what the times was.
Quick question. I'm pausing in a comedy video, which is heresy, I know. Taboo, sacrilege. Well, I've asked this before in another video, I think, but what did people, like, if you lived in 200 BC, right? Well, there's no way they called it 200 BC, because BC stands for before Christ, and they don't know who Christ is yet. He's not born for another 200 years. So I wonder what people back then, like, called the year, if they called it a year at all. Like, anyone know?
Because of the shape of clocks, you might think that time goes in a circle, but it actually goes in a line. This is the famous Greenwich Merillion line, named after the band Marillion, who were named after this line. Every day that's ever happened starts exactly here, coming out of that time transmitter and running along this metal line on the ground.
She almost cracked up herself. She almost lost her face.
And running along this metal line on the ground.
Or maybe.
That's why this is the only place in the world where I can be in the past and the future, with the present running right up through my middle bits. No wonder time is such a mystery. Literally no one can understand it apart from science men. One science man who knows all about time is this science man. No. Hello, science man, who are you?
I'm Dr. Stuart Clark. I'm...
Man.
Oh, sorry. Who are you?
Hello, science man, who are you?
I'm Dr. Stuart Clark. I'm an astronomy writer and a fellow of the Royal Astronomical Society.
What is time?
We don't actually know. There are a couple of possibilities. Either time could be a physical thing that flows like a river, or it could be more of a psychological thing.
When you say it's like a river, What do you mean?
I mean that time it flows like the water in the river, and that the events in our lives are like things in the river that water encounters.
Like fish and stuff?
Yes.
You know when you store time on a clock?
I love, like, just, it happens with Sacha Baron Cohen, too, with, like, Ali G. I love the moment in the interviews where the interviewer just, like, realizes and just, like, gives up and is like, sure, yeah, fish and stuff.
You know when you store time on a clock, how do you get it back out again? Because when I was winding my watch up, I accidentally put it forward, so I'd got 2 hours more in my clock. But then I put it back, but I thought, is it still in there? Is the time still in the clock?
So your watch doesn't actually measure time?
Well, it does, because it's accurate.
It measures the oscillation of a crystal. And the change in the physical state of that crystal has to happen in what we call a certain amount of time. So from one moment to another, physical systems everywhere in the universe changes its state, and that change takes place in what we call time, and that's the only way we can infer the existence of time. But actually what time is, we don't know.
Right. So even the people who understand time don't understand what time is. It'll always be an unknowable mystery, like why the seasons change or how a telephone works. Next time on Moments of Wonder, I'll be asking, what are these? And why are they everywhere?
Oh, she's great. Another one. Crime. Goody. Why do people always say, like, I have a giant mug?
1 in 20 people has been a victim of crime, which means that 19 out of 20 people are criminals. No wonder we need police. In the olden days, if someone did something wrong, there was nothing you could do except form a mob with your neighbours and hunt them down and kill them. But today, we've got one other option, thanks to Sir Robert Peel, who in 1829 discovered the police, here on a spot marked today by a ceremonial wind turbine. Once the police had been invented, victims of crime knew who to ask for help because of their special hats, designed to be visible at a distance by people being
Jack the Ripper.
murdered in the London fog. Police tried to stop
I gotta shut
for
up.
help because of their special hats, designed to be visible at a distance by people being murdered in the London fog. Police tried to stop crime, but couldn't exist without it. If there was no crime, what would they do? Except spend all day putting addresses on bikes with that hammer. If no one's going to steal those bikes, that's just decorating.
Huh?
Of course, there's no point fighting crime if you don't know what crime is. That's where rules come in. But what is rules? A rules is basically a collection of laws. The first example being the Ten Commandments, which were left on a hill by God. Many of those laws, killing, gravity, and the one about not interfering with oxes, are still used today, even though God's dead. So, who decides what's right and what's not right, and works out what the punishment should be, and then writes it down? Maybe an expert can help us get to the truth. Hello, who are you and what are you an expert on?
My name is Chris Williams. I'm a senior lecturer at the Open University, and I'm an expert on the history of crime, policing and justice.
If a policeman broke the law, would he be able to arrest himself?
I don't think so, no.
Why not?
Under the Police and Criminal Evidence Act, the arresting officer has to sign the prisoner over to the custody officer, and if they were one and the same person, I can't see how that would work. Also, I don't know how the investigator can interview themselves legally under that act.
It wasn't that. You could turn yourself.
And if the case ever got to court, which I don't think it would, the defendant would be in a position to cross-examine himself. So I think the judge would stop the trial at that point. No.
But why would he arrest himself if he didn't think he was guilty? And so why would he defend himself? Why? This makes me mad. Why? So if he was just going to cross-examine himself to get him out of it in court, because he's both the defendant and victim or whatever, well, then he wouldn't have reported himself anyway. I know I'm nitpicking over a comedy fake question.
I think it's the answer to your question.
When they do reconstructions, you know, on telly, they're dead convincing, aren't they? Have any of them sort of like got a bit out of hand and turned back into an actual crime?
Not to my knowledge, no.
It must have happened. Must have.
Huh?
When they do reconstructions, you know, on telly, they're dead convincing, aren't they? Ooh. Have any of them sort of like got a bit out of hand and turned back into an actual crime?
Not to my knowledge, no.
It must have happened. Must have.
Probably not. They're relatively highly...
It probably has happened, though.
We'd probably have heard of that if it had happened.
All right, okay. So, if there wasn't police, we'd be able to do what we liked, which is great. But then the police wouldn't be able to do what they liked, which is be the police. And that would be against their human rights. Next time on Moments of Wonder, I'll be finding out how all these little flaws make it easy.
Half of the comedy in my eyes is just the way she asks questions. Hi, who are you? Or just looks at the camera. I wanted to see the tree episode from the teaser. Should we do one more? How many are there total? Oh, there's a lot. No, we'll do evolution next time. All right, love you guys. See y'all next time. I know it was pretty painful. I just couldn't understand. Accents, tough. Bye, guys.